Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. I hope everyone is doing well today. Shout out to all the subscribers as always, and thanks to anyone new locked in, much appreciated. Let's talk about this potential fight between Bud Crawford and Chris Eubank Jr. Another fight the boxing community or boxing fans didn't really ask for, didn't really see coming. You know, obviously there's talks of Manny Pacquiao and Conor Benn, and then this joke of a fight between Jake Paul and Mike Tyson. These are the fights that are headlining right now. They're dominating the boxing talk, and it's a lot of fights that boxing fans don't want. But I like to play devil's advocate here, and you know, obviously inactivity right now is plaguing the sport. So given that Bud obviously for whatever reason isn't able to get the other fights, or the fights aren't being able to be made in and around his division, let's just say the Boots fight at 147, which is a fight we all want. That's an amazing fight. And then people say, well, Boots doesn't bring anything to the table. Yeah, he does. He brings a massive problem to the table. He brings power, speed, athleticism, youth, generational talent. So obviously I get why, you know, that's just not worth the headache given the amount of money that won't be in that fight. I get that. I mean, you have to put yourself in Bud's shoes. At the end of the day, you know, what's he, 37, 36, 37? And, you know, if it's a question of him being inactive or fighting someone he's going to completely blow out, I think the only other options are to go up in weight and take on, you know, fighters that are going to make it a bit more competitive. I don't see this fight being that competitive, but would I take this over him not fighting? Absolutely. Just the other day, you know, it's like, it's crazy how I'm thinking about these fighters in my head, and I'm like, I miss watching them, you know, I miss the skill set. It's just a general thought. It's going to be a blink of an eye before they're going to be out the sport. Well, not Boots, but you know, Bud Crawford. And it's fighters that are active. You can talk Anthony Joshua, Tim Tszyu, you know, well, Joseph Parker to a lesser extent, but like fighters that do remain active, we get the fresh memories and the chat about them because they're active. But the ones that aren't, I'm like, I yearn for that. I yearn to watch them fight. I yearn to the Bud fight against, you know, Spence obviously was massively one-sided. That we're witnessing greatness, you know, and in my lifetime, that's like, he's the best fighter I think I've ever seen, and I want to see him in a competitive fight, or a fight that he can get challenged. Is it going to be this one? Probably not. But I also don't want to see him sit on the sideline for 6 more months until other fights get made. Now, the Tim Tszyu Keith Thurman obviously is at the end of this month, and you know, that's potential for the winner to fight the winner should the Eubank or Bud Eubank fight get made. Nah, that's I like that, especially if that's Tim Tszyu, which I think, you know, most of us suspect he's going to beat Thurman. Tszyu versus Bud is a great fight. At 154, that is a great fight. But one step at a time, I suppose. But for now, Bud Crawford, in terms of, he'll be going up to 160. I heard rumors this is going to be in Saudi Arabia. They got the money, they can put that up. That's fine. The only advantage in this, I think, for me right now, it would be the weight. Obviously, Chris Eubank Jr. coming off his best performance, I think probably in his career, you'd have to say, against Liam Smith, who, you know, looked shaky, and he looked very off. But when I say off, you know, there were a lot of excuses that came out. I don't think it would have mattered, because Chris Eubank generally looked great. And he had Bomac in his corner, who worked some real magic. Bomac is with Bud. And also he's going to now know whatever tendencies Chris Eubank Jr. had a little bit closer and a little bit deeper. So that's the advantage will go to Bud on that. But in terms of how Bud would approach that fight, look, he could fight that fight in many different ways, because he is, you know, able to do that as a fighter. But I think the one way you wouldn't want to tangle up with Eubank is in the pocket and bang with him, even though he could probably be successful there. That would be the most advisable thing to do, because Eubank is pretty epic in the pocket sometimes. You know, he can really reel off some sharp combinations, uppercuts, and you know, he lets those punches go, and he'll be the bigger man. He might be coming in at something like 170 probably, you know. So, but Bud would just systematically outthink him, outmaneuver, outjab, he could just switch hit and do whatever he wanted to do with him, I think, you know. he could probably fight him however he wanted to. But I would personally just stick to his boxing. You know, if he has to box off the back foot, use his lateral movement a little bit, use his timing. Obviously, he's got superior timing than any fighter right now. So I don't see it really being remotely competitive. I think Chris Eubank would really have to press the issue and make it more of a fight, which Bud loves. We know that. But, you know, am I thrilled about this fight? No. Is it one I will watch? Yes. Is it something to keep Bud active so we can get bigger fights to, you know, make them better? Yeah, sure. But, you know, did we see this coming and did we ask for this? No. But boxing's in a weird place right now. It really is. The inactivity is killing fighters out here. And, you know, I don't know, there's a lot of moving parts right now. And, you know, Boots is actually rumored to be fighting Cody Crowley. I actually quite like that fight. That's a decent fight in the sense that Crowley, you know, spitting sawdust. God, this time it was like there was not enough memory on my phone. Anyway, yeah, Cody Crowley. Look, he reminds me a little bit of like Joe Smith Jr. You know, like blue collar, spitting sawdust, hard-working American dude. He's Canadian actually, but he comes to fight. He comes in really fantastic shape. He's very strong, but there is a massive gap in skill, and there's a massive gap in basically every department you can you know write down really in terms of speed, power, IQ, athleticism, all of that. But he would certainly be coming to fight, and he might give Boots his best fight. Again, I don't see this being remotely competitive, but he would certainly be pressuring Boots and maybe dig something else out of him that we haven't seen. I don't know. I like the fight though. I think it's, for what we have right now, I think it's an interesting fight because you do want someone to put it on and just to see how Boots deals with such oh look, he dealt with Villa obviously very easily, but I think Crowley is a different, you know, he's got a different sort of temperament, and he seems a bit stronger, you know, a bit more powerful, a bit more tenacious. But you're going to need a little bit more than that. A lot more than that. But, you know, that fight's another video, mate, if that fight does get made. But, you know, the Bud Crawford, Chris Eubank Jr. fight, I don't know, boxing was doing, well, we had a great year last year, and I'm still optimistic this year. We've had some pretty good fights so far, but in the recent few negotiation parts, there's a lot of moving parts, as I said, and it's don't know, we're getting a lot of fights we ain't asking for. But the 154-pound division, I made a video about that actually. I'll leave a link up here. That might be, obviously we know about the 140 division. The 154 division might just be that might just be the hottest division in the next coming year or two. There's some fantastic fights to be had up there. And, you know, if Bud does fight Chris Eubank Jr., obviously he's going to have to go up in weight. He's going to have to, you know, normally you would, two weight classes. You would like to see fighters, you know, ease into it and have a fight at the weight class, so you can really, like, you know, get used to the body. I remember Virgil Hunter used to talk about that when Andre Ward moved up to fight Kovalev. I think they had one, maybe two fights. I think they had two fights before they fought Kovalev, because you got to naturally fit into the body and understand how your body moves, understand how you can spar with that at that weight, 160, getting used to bigger guys. I'm sure Crawford's fought loads of bigger guys in the past, but coming on fight night, being at 160, fighting someone that's probably going to be 170, you know, maybe even more. You know, that's the biggest question mark there, is how would he deal with the size of the man. But you know, I think we know the answer to that pretty well. But that's it from me. Just a quick video today. I've got a couple more coming tomorrow. I've got this Shushu documentary and the Nikita Zoo documentary, film studies really. They will definitely be out in the next couple of days. I'm going to be working on them. And just any other random boxing news stories. If you're new to the channel, hit the like button if you enjoyed it, and if you are new, subscribe to the channel. Shout out to all the subscribers. Have a great week. I'm out boxing on the edge.